going to find yourself getting passed by multiple cars, as I mentioned earlier on. So you're off in a very precarious situation, but he often finds himself in these places. Doesn't qualify as well as he races. Only up front, they are getting with Lee Aberdeen and Luca Varani, not very far apart at all here. But I just want to see how Alistair Haight deals with Marcello Kessler coming around the old hairpin. But I would say it's not the best decision they've ever made, just not having done that under the safety car, really.
Yeah, they're taking their pit stop strategies from Ferrari lately, isn't it? What's going on?
In turn one, just too much gas on them, too much feet on the out pedal, and unfortunately he's dropped him all the way down the order. But Philip Hammer is out in front by an 8.91 seconds. Oh, Dan Michael is a wall there, sir. And it definitely doesn't want to be hitting that earlier on as well. Typical, the understeer is in the dirty air through that final corner because it's such a long corner and you get dragged off into the grass very easily. He'll have the slipstream down it towards the chicane. Peterson was briefly alongside, but that slipstream has saved him and kept him in third. Yeah, Varani now lost a little bit of time to Aberdeen, about half a second. Peterson is Pite's pushed more and forward up ahead. He's got out of line. Is now Pite going to have a go? Werrell, don't push him off. He's in the championship fight. Jack Werrell chasing down Carl Jacklin. Further down, Rob Williams and Chris Barnes.
Sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's come back into play. Exactly. Miller's just like dropping. He's not on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Moving on to the back end of Bill Jocelyn. So there's been a lot of movers and shakers in this first 2 laps here for race.
Absolutely serious racing league. Everybody's a lot of fun. Yeah.
It's all about the entertainment, so I hope
everybody is enjoying themselves out there in the chat. We know that Ron is enjoying himself watching Burger King machines off into the grass a little bit there. Is that really bunching up now?
Does he have it? Medeiros is going to get it. They haven't got it. He's on the outside line though, going into the fastest corner on the circuit. Surely this can't work.
Dominic Ligner has got a sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's come back into play. Exactly. Miller's still such trouble. He's not on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Can Barry do it? Big Barry's going to do it. Big Barry! Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the MX5 Season 1 2024 Round 9 from VIR. I am James Parfitt. I'm going to be joined in the booth by Craig Jones here this evening alongside me once more, and we will bring Craig into the booth to have a chat about this circuit. Craig, welcome in, dear sir. How are you?
Good evening. I'm very well, thank you. Interesting track choice tonight, so I'm looking forward to this one.
Yes, the grand circuit of VIR. 23 corners. There's probably more than that, but they've gone A and B here in the wonderful world of Americanization of the circuit numbers. 2 minutes 54 lap times currently, with 2 minutes 50 being the best one overall. What are we expecting? Because it's a very long circuit for little MX5s.
It is a very long circuit for the cars, and I'm hoping with so little cars on the track this evening, I'm hoping that we're not going to get too much drama in the opening laps that's going to spread out the cars. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. Keeping up with the pack is going to be crucial tonight, because if you get left behind, then you're out there on your own, and it's going to be a very lonely race. So we don't want to see that up here in the booth. I'm sure people don't want to see that on the YouTube chat as well. So yeah, let's hope we have 11 cars closely packed together going around this absolute monster of a track.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's bring you up with the standings as they currently are in the pros. It's Pete Newman out in front on 713 with Jamie Ayres in second there as well. And then we've got Tom Griffiths in third, Steve Heppard in fourth, John Sylvester in fifth, with Ralph Cullen and Darryl Wright, Miles Owens, Ewan Bramer and Pete Van Gaal rounding out the scorers here. In the AM Championship at the moment, let's just give that a refresh just because we've changed over sessions here as well. So in the AMs, it's Fiona Siddons out on top. She's got 551 points with Colin Sampson on 456 and Alan Toon still in third. Then we've got Mick Barry, Dan Lewis, Arnold Chonier, Callum McPherson, Alexander Longo and Andy Littler. In the team championships at the moment is Momo out in front on 1967 with SimRacers Sweden Esports on 1611. Then we got the Results Clothing iRacing team on 1468, Work Guard by Result on 1002. Pure Sims in fifth with Year 1, Air Smart Racing and Safeguard by Result as well. Obviously this championship isn't as meaning as the normal championship that we go into here, Craig, because obviously after all it is only the Winter Series. But it's still up for grabs from anybody at the moment, and I think it's looking very tight and interesting at the top of the pros. The ARMS is a little bit more spread out, but we know how good Colin Sampson's been over the last few weeks as well.
Yeah, I think it's one of those championships, you know, having raced in this one before the Winter Series, it's always a time just to kind of reflect and maybe do a bit of testing, change some setups, have a look at what's going on. So there's still obviously bragging rights up for grabs, and you know, if anyone knows me, if I certainly win something, I like to brag about it. So you know, these drivers will be going for it, but you know, it's a little bit of fun, a chance to get together, especially for new drivers. It's the perfect opportunity to get into these MX5s because it being such a kind of a trial series in a way. Really good way of getting to know the guys and get to know the cars really well. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting one.
It definitely is, and with 6 sectors here this evening as well, it's going to be a very interesting one. We are going to have to wait pretty much nearly 3 minutes before we start getting 6 minutes, sorry, before we start getting lap times on the board. They're not going to be able to get many in here. We are calculating roughly 4, maybe 5 laps, depending on the pace of the ball here as well.
So I think this one could be a very interesting evening of racing. 4 15-minute heats, of course. We will have to change heats after race 2. We will go on to a BRB screen and then change into the next session. But overall, I think it could be an interesting one. That long straightaway, they're going to have quite a few, of course, as well. We run this circuit here on the Clios, Craig, and I think it brought some very interesting racing, especially certain corner names here as well, that kind of made it an interesting evening on the broadcast.
Yes, it certainly did. I've driven this track in various variations of it. There's quite a few tracks that you can do around this circuit. Never ever raced this one. Not a particular fan of this track either. It has to be said. It's a very technical track, so it's quite difficult in certain areas. But what I will say is I've probably had some of the best racing I've ever had when I'm going to have visitors here when I come to this track. So I expected these guys, we know how close they like to race and how respectful they like to race. I'm expecting to see some really good racing tonight, so it's going to be exciting to watch, I think.
Yeah, it definitely is. I don't think I hope you will enjoy it as well. If you are here listening, don't forget to let me know and say hi, and then we will say hi back. We do talk to the YouTube chat as well, so if you can let me know that you are here, and I will say hi to you here as well. Let us know who you think is going to be the winner, who you think is going to be an interesting fight. It's going to be a very very interesting one here as well. Jamie Ayres is one of the first people at track. He's on his way down into turn 13, Craig. It's got a very interesting corner name as turn 13, hasn't it? And it's not one that we think generally you would see on a racetrack within iRacing.
No, I mean, there's some interesting corner names at racetracks, but here we see the car going around a corner that's the bitch. There's no other way of saying it, really. So it does provide some entertainment value on the comms, I guess. But yeah, we'll see how that goes tonight. I'm sure we're going to get some fantastic opportunities to have some fun with that corner name.
Yeah, I believe so as well. 3:01 on the clock for Tom Griffiths at the moment here as well, as these guys are off around 17D, believe it or not, before we go into 18A, 18B, and then 19A and 19B here as well. The Americans do love their numbers, Craig, when they could have just gone from 1 to 26 or whatever it would be at this moment in time.
I just think there was some guy who had a job of just naming the corners of the track, and he just give up. There's so many of them. He just went, "Oh, do you know what? We'll just, it's like a house number. I live at number 1 down my road, but there's also a 1A, like a flat just round the corner. It's just bizarre. Why? Why just have an extra number? Have an extra name? Maybe that's something we should do. We should start a petition or something to get the names changed and from silly B and A's and C's to actual corner names.
Hey, it's better than living in my street, mate. I'm number 43 and number 45 is up the road. So then there's another number 45 as well that's off a road round the corner. So we end up getting some of their mail and they end up getting some of ours, and then the postman just doesn't really know where he's delivering, to be blatantly honest with you. So I don't know, maybe I'll get a protest together from the street to get their numbers sorted out as well. But I think overall, I don't know, maybe you are right. Maybe he just got to corner number, 5 and just went, I'm going 5A. 5B, 5C, 6A, 6B, 7A, BB. And that's the thing, there's like numbers that are 1, 2, 3. And then we've got 4A, 4B, 5A, 5B, 6A, 6B, 7, 8A, 8B, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15A, 15B, 16, 17A, B, C, and D, 18A, B, and A and B, and then 19 A and B, and then we've got 21, 20, 21, 22A, 22B, and 23. Check that one out.
So maybe what happened is this guy was given the job of doing the corners, and his boss wasn't particularly happy with the names that he came up with, and that's how he got the name for turn 13. He just went, yeah.
What an
got
absolute get sorted out. I think that's the thing, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Wow, yeah.
Good evening, Jason Craig. Good evening, Phil, across the pond. Hope you are well, buddy. Hope you're having a fabulous time here as well. Thank you so much for joining me, which is going to be, well, joining us, I should say, for what will be a very, very long and lonely evening of racing if these guys, Craig, make an issue for themselves, should we say.
Yeah, but I think they haven't let us down yet, have they? So we were a bit concerned last week. We had, an oval track with the same sort of amount of cars going around it last week, and the last two races were a destruction derby kind of style format, which we don't often see, particularly with the UK SimRacers. So, we were both said, how do you commentate on that? Actually, it turned out to be all right. Actually, I quite enjoyed it. So. I hope there's no drama, because like I said before, it's all about keeping with the pack tonight. If you lose the guy in front of you, your race is pretty much over unless there's some incident that's going to happen ahead of you. So keeping with that guy right in front, really, really crucial tonight. So hopefully, like I said, I've had brilliant racing around here, so I'm expecting to see some real side-by-side action, and I think these guys will deliver for us.
Yeah, I think so as well, and I think there's a lot of interesting things that could come out of this evening, and as you say, one of them is making sure they are staying with the draft. As you can see, they're currently at the moment at best times 2:51.725. So there's going to be long laps here this evening as well, as Pete Van Gaal just goes a little bit wide. We have got 11 drivers, I believe, in the session, but only 7 have got times on the board at the moment. So Alan Toon has back into the pits, unfortunately for poor old Tooney there as well. PVG's out on track. Hepburn, Newman, Cullen, Simmons, Sansom, Wright, Owens, Ayres and Griffiths. We haven't seen Mrs. Wright in YouTube chat yet, Craig. I'm sure she'll be in at some point.
Yeah, well, she's not missed the last few, has she? So I expect we'll see her, and I expect if he does anything wrong, he will get the usual punishment and not be spoken to for many, many hours, if not days, especially if he goes anywhere near our fan favourite Mr. Toon.
Yes, I believe that Mr. Toon, being the fan favourite, will be wanting to stay away from most people, as we've seen on the ovals, of course, where we are, how can I say, we've been somewhat biased, should we say?
I think rule number 1 of commentary went right out the window with those those races, but they were epic to watch, and they certainly hold a fond memory for me. That's not how you do that corner.
No, Fiona Siddons there behind the portable toilet, actually. I didn't realise that corner had a portaloo on. So if you crash out, you want to make sure you crash there, and you can get out and sit and watch the rest of the race and go to the toilet at the same time, Craig.
Well, Fiona might need to use it after spinning it on that corner and seeing all those other MX5s coming around the corner. But the less said about that, the better.
Very much so here as well. 3.5 minutes left of qualifying, guys. Don't forget, like, subscribe, turn on the bells, and do all that other fancy jazz. We have got some action coming up for you on the JPB YouTube channel this week. Tonight at 1 a.m, if you are a night owl, there is the return of the BSC Cup Series, round 1 from Daytona International. This is the spring season. They are doing 3 seasons combined overall, but it will be broken down. Then we've got the GT4s, of course, tomorrow night as well. We've also got the SR Radical Race Series. We've got Evolution, the TSRCs on Thursday, TSRCs F4s on Friday with the JPB TCRs. We've got the VWFC returns as well. That's their historic season, and they're coming back with all the cars from 1964. So if you want to have a look at what the 1964 sports cars looked at, you can join in for that one. We've got, of course, iFormula Round 4 as well. That's at my favourite track from Interlagos. Evolution is also back on Thursday. Then on Sunday, we've got the Coffee Cup morning race. That goes up at 2 p.m. Then we've got iFormula Round 5 from Brazil, PPR Round 5 from Spain, and then IGP on that one as well. So Sunday is a very busy day here on JPB. There's no fewer than 4 broadcasts spread across the day for you. So, yeah, keep an eye out on that one. It's going to be very, very exciting indeed. Right. Here we go once more with the cars coming through the end of qualifying. If they haven't done their lap by now, Craig, I don't think they're quite going to get there, do you?
No, it's always frustrating as well if you haven't managed to get a lap time in, and that's probably why we've seen so many cars now currently in the pits, just waiting for the session to take over, really. So, yeah, lots of off tracks and little silly mistakes you can make on this track that will void your time. So you've got to keep it clean. You've got to always sensible to try and go out and do an almost like a slow lap just to get a lap time in, because there's always going to be guys that don't set a lap time. You can jump a few places on the back of the grid. You know, once you've got that safe lap in, as I always call it, then you can start putting your foot down and trying to push a little bit more to try and get a decent time and get yourself up further up the grid. But yeah, it looks like a few drivers have unfortunately just not bothered to come back out, or they've had too many instances where they're just going to call it and feel safer from starting from the back of the grid.
Yeah, I do. I think that would be one of the possibilities here as well. Don't forget, guys, also coming up on JBB, we have launched the Endurance Series. That will be up and running, and sign-ups will be open by the end of this week. And also the 100% NASCAR Series is also opening up as well. That starts in May for 100% length on that one. All the details will be going up on the JPB website tomorrow, so keep an eye out for the NASCAR Series as well as the Endurance Series as well. If you want to get yourselves involved, don't forget, join the JPB Leagues Discord down below and get yourselves involved in some great epic racing here as well. Jamie Ayres, I think, is doing that. Not an ideal way. There, Fiona Siddon, Steve Pepford, Pete Van Gool in the middle with Miles Owens, Ralph Cullinan as well. That is the end of qualifying for race 1. The grid looks a bit like this. Pete Newman out on pole with Tom Griffiths in second. Then you've got Jamie Ayres and Ralph Cullinan with Miles Owens and Darryl Wright rounding out the top 6. Colin Sampson, Fiona Siddon, Steve Pepford, PVG and Sir Alan Toon at the back there as well in 11th place. So stay tuned for this one. We're going to get this one up and running and underway. Is going to be very, very interesting and very, very exciting. So get yourselves ready as well. We're just waiting for Pete Newman to get out on track and see what he does. He does love leaving it to the last minute, mind you. But there he is, finally, in his Pure Sims 118 machine. So a good job from him. Lights are coming on right about now as well. And this evening will be up and running and underway. And it is green, green, green. Pete Newman there getting a start. Tom Griffiths slotting right in behind him with Jamie Ayres as well as they go rushing down into turn 1 currently at the moment. And who's going to be able to get this? They're already going to try and go 3 wide. It looks like Pete Newman is going to try and get it. On the outside, there is Miles Owens. Hefford's gone round. Oh, Stevie Hefford has gone round. PVG is there as well. Looks like he's missed the start once more, but it is Newman, Griffiths and Ayres rounding out the top 3 at the moment as they're on their way in to turn 4A here as well.
Yeah, very interesting mistake there from Steve Hefford. Not one that you normally see from him, but that particular corner, you know, you've got cold tyres, you've got your cold brakes, you've just got the start. It's really easy to do. I've done it myself around that corner so many times. So yeah, unfortunate to see that, but overall a good start. Everyone got away. Everyone managed to avoid Steve Hefford facing the wrong direction for a second then. So yeah, it's race on. Everyone's in a pack together. let's see what happens.
Yeah, let's see as well here as well. And they're on their way down into the famous oak tree corner, which has no longer got the oak tree. As we had a discussion, I think it was last night actually, the oak tree got struck by lightning in real life and then was taken away for safety reasons. And then iRacing removed it after that as well. But Jamie Ayres now, who's got past Tom Griffiths, this is the run. This is where we might see some overtakes going into the pitch at turn 13, and it is named that. I'm not being rude. It literally is, and you can look on iRacing at VIR ground course and you will see it there as well. Now they've got this right-hander to try and contend with. Jamie Ayres goes in very, very hot. He's going to look for the cutback over Newman, and they run into 14 and 15, AB and 16 here. So let's see how this one pans out here as well. But we've got the top 5 not very far apart here, Craig, and some great action so far.
Absolutely. I think this will be the particular section of the track where you will actually see all that action unfolding as well with the side-by-side. It's very tight, it's very hard to make moves, but it's a brilliant piece of track, it really is. Like you said before, we raced it in the Clios and it was absolutely fantastic. So yeah, I think that's going to be a real point of some drama tonight.
Yeah, I think so as well, as Miles Owens tucks in behind Ralph Cullinan, and Pete Newman's down the order into 3rd at the moment as well. He's just lost the lead as Jamie Ayres has gone through, and Tom Griffiths. I love the fact that the Irishman Ralph Cullinan's in this as well. He's just about to clear Pete Newman. Newman seems to be struggling at the moment, can't seem to quite get the line over this first lap here.
It's really interesting looking at the qualifying actually, because there was actually surprisingly quite big gaps between the top 3. You don't normally see that with these guys. It's normally really, really close. So consistency has gone a little bit wide there. Consistency is definitely key round here. Like I said, it's a real tough technical track. So you've got to be consistent. You've got to make every corner count with maximise as much as you possibly can and avoid going off those tracks, because that's where you're going to lose all your time. But yeah, it's a real tough one, this one. It's not a track I particularly love, so I can definitely forgive them for making the odd mistake here and there.
The double is we get lap 2 underway, 11.5 minutes to go. As we said, we think there's going to be about 4 laps, maybe 5 at the most, as PVG they're trying to chase down Colin Sampson, who's further up. Darryl Wright is trying to get on to the back here of Pete Newman. He's got Fiona Siddons for company right behind him as well. So we'll see how this one pans out. Steve Hefford and PVG, part of the Momo squad, battling it out between themselves here as well, as Hefford does go through over PVG, and a great job he has done there as well. Tom Griffiths, Jamie Ayres 1 second out in front currently at the moment there, Craig. So it's going to be interesting to see if he can pull him back in.
Yeah, a really comfortable lead, and like I said, it's you've got to try and hang on to that car in front. So he's still not, he's still not out the danger zone yet. They could easily pound, and we know, got the whole field are quite quick drivers. Let's face it, they're good enough to be in a league of this quality. But there's some real fast drivers there. So Ayres has just got to keep his focus, keep his attention on the track, pick those braking points, and try to maintain that gap and just slowly grow it over the coming laps ahead.
Yeah, we will have to see how it gets on and whether or not he can escape here as well. So let's see how they gets on. Pete Newman struggling a little bit. Miles Owens just gone off the side of the circuit, unfortunately, here currently with Pete Newman there trying to chase down the Irishman of Ralph Cullinan. Ralph doing an absolutely stellar job in 3rd. Another one that's got better and better. In a weird way, he's got better over the winter season than he did throughout the whole of last season, well, throughout the whole of last year, really.
Yeah, I'm sure he's going to love you for saying that as well.
We'll be all right.
Yeah, I like I said, particularly with the winter series, I always saw it as a bit of a reset, and if you're going to try a different tactic or a different way of racing, this is the time to be doing it. I remember when I first started here, I was all over the show and missing braking points and all that kind of stuff, and I just had some advice from the drivers just to concentrate on basically trying to finish every race and just try and keep it as clean, as tidy as possible, and the speed will eventually follow. And it was so true. So it's a great opportunity to maybe try a different tactic, a different style of driving, and see if it works for you. And if not, you can slip back when the kind of the official series starts in the spring.
Yeah, I think so. That's one of the things they've got to work out on, isn't it, really? And just working on this gives the Winter Series a great opportunity to run some different circuits. It gives them an opportunity to basically try and refine their skills, their driving skills as well, as Tom Griffiths has caught up to the back end of Jamie Hare's ear as well. So Tom and Jamie are going to be very close together as they're off round left hook 4A and 4B, and then before they get in through the Snake section here as well on that run through South Bend and down into the Oak Tree, which is on the top right hand corner of the track map there as well. So thank you very much. Good evening, Mr. David Ayres. Good evening, all he has said this evening. I wonder what Scary Mary's been up to this evening for David here as well.
That's never a question you really want to ask, I'll be honest with you, because you never know what answer you're going to get. But yeah, I can't actually see the YouTube chat, so you're privileged, James, that you can see it, because nothing's coming up on my side.
Oh, well, there you go. I'm not entirely sure why that is, though, considering it's... Let me just check here.
I would imagine it's a YouTube issue rather than... I'll try rebooting the stream on my end.
Yeah, try refreshing it, because it works for me. It's just coming up on the corner there as well. So, Tom Griffiths, Jamie Hares, Newman and Owens tucked over right behind at the moment as well on that run down now into turn 13. Griffiths is looking at the inside of Jamie Hares. He's not going to make it through. Miles Owens hard on the brakes as he goes on that infield section. Newman's closed back up to Griffiths as well. PVG is still having a scrap down here. That's side by side with Steve Hefford. Hefford on the right in the yellow roll bars, of course. Pete with the white. They are teammates, mind you. So let's hope they don't have a repeat of what we've seen previously, where they end up taking each other out here as well. But great job from Miles Owens as he's trying to keep in contact here once again. How difficult, is it driving these little MX5s around these longer circuits, Craig? Can you just kind of lose where you are and lose concentration?
Yeah, these if you can handle an MX5, a track like this is absolutely, it's a dream. It really is. It's such a good track to race around. Unfortunately, I can't handle an MX5 as well as some of these. And they're really, really tricky. A lot of turny bends, that's where you're going to see, and we have seen a lot of the rear end sort of like kicking out on them. Interesting to see, lots of like Pete Newman, I've seen him sort of go wide quite a few times now. So not the only driver, there's been quite a few, let's say, using the full width of the track. So yeah, they're struggling out there. So at this point, lap 4, we've definitely got some heat into the tyres, so it shouldn't be a cold tyre issue. It should be just trying to push and maybe just asking a little bit too much of the car. I don't know, but yeah, definitely some drivers seem to be struggling to keep it on the track at the moment.
Yeah, definitely here as well, as I've just developed a nice, very interesting technical issue here as well, as I've ended up with somehow my monitor's gone off and it's now put iRacing on a completely different screen. So this is going to be an interesting one. I might have to sit here in a minute and work this one out here, as I cannot actually see a lot. We've got about 5.5 minutes remaining on the race here, Craig, as well. They're on their way through 7A, 8B and 9 before they get down into South Bend. There's not going to be many laps left here, I don't think, for these guys to fight out for, and I think it's just going to be one of them quick ones that have taken place, and ones that these guys are going to have to try and deal with, because it is a long circuit and it does give very, very long lap times here.
It is an extremely long circuit, and in terms of opportunities, I mean, there will be plenty of opportunities, but apart from the straight that we're on and sort of maybe the final straight over the start-finish line, it's difficult because the car's constantly always doing something. I know that sounds really strange to say, but I'm talking from a directional change. So as we see coming through here, so this is that famous corner name, Bitch, and this part of the track is really, really technical. So you're coming downhill, you've got all the forces coming down on the car, and you're trying to get the car to go up over the hill to the left. You're clipping the next one, trying to straight line it as best as you possibly can within the rules. It's always constant, tight, twisty corners, and it's really hard to concentrate on keeping the car in the correct kind of shape without compromising your speed with the car in front. So making moves is not so easy, particularly when it's close. And say a little mistake there by Ayres looks like that managed to get Newman through back up into second place. But this is what I mean. I think it's just going to come down to consistency and who's going to make the mistakes, because it's a real hard one to try and get to try and make a move from a pure talent point of view, purely for the fact that it's so tight around this track.
Yeah, I think you might be right. We've got the top four: Owens, Ayres, and Newman and Griffiths. And we've got Siddons as well, also locked in, currently behind Darrell Wright. Still no misses right here yet as well. Scary Mary is at work at present, so I'm safe. I don't know if I can read the rest of that, to be honest, David. But there you go. And then he says, "Hi, young Craig. Hope you're recovering well."
Oh, well, that's, yeah, like I said, I have refreshed it and I still can't see anything, so I'll give up. I don't know what's going on with YouTube chat, but I miss you, YouTube chat, and hello to anyone that I haven't said hello to yet.
Well, it's just not very good, is it, Craig, at the end of the day? You know, you talked to me earlier on about getting a new PC, maybe time to get one, eh?
Well, I'm watching it on my phone, because obviously I don't have the privileges of extra monitors like you do, so I'm having to use my phone at the moment, and it's that's playing up, I'm afraid.
Well, there you go, unfortunately for Mr. Jones. So Darrell Wright, Fiona Siddons, they have broken away here. Griffiths, Ayres and Newman have not, with Miles Owens tucked up in the background. So let's see how these guys get on there as well. It's going to be very, very exciting as we are on lap 5. I believe that this may be the final lap here, or they might just grab one more.
Yeah, well, it'll be certainly close, won't it? But I mean, I think it's been an interesting race so far. It's hopefully give us a little bit of a glimmer of what it's going to look like for the remaining races. You know, we've seen this pack racing, which is really, really good to see. It's hard fought racing. It's a little bit wide on that there. That looked like a scary line to be taken. Yeah, so going through this technical bit, you know, we're so used to them going straight on before turn 13, and we would almost be sort of 5 seconds down the line looking at completing the lap time. But you know, this extra bit, it does add a whole different dynamic to the track. So I really like it, to be honest. I think I'm going to have this variation at some point in a race, hopefully in the near future.
Well, we definitely ain't sticking the Clios on here, mate, otherwise we will be here for literally about 5 minutes. So the Clios, I can tell you now, are not going on this configuration, because that would just be absolutely horrendous, as we've got a minute for these guys to get towards the end of the lap. As I say, they're going to get there. I think it's going to be very, very close. 55 seconds, and they're on their way through the roller coaster at the moment here as well. Turn 21 on their way down through 22A and B, then coming into 23, which is the hog pen corner. I think they might just about make one more here, with about 30 seconds possibly to spare, maybe even less than that currently here as well. So yeah, I think they might just make one more, and they did do here as well, as we've got 23 seconds on the clock, and they've just made one more lap.
Yeah, it gives us one more lap to try and see how they're going to sort this whole four-way battle out, really, I suppose. So yeah, plenty of racing action yet to come. The pack has spread out a little bit at the moment. I'd like to see them a little bit closer. So we have got a few technical areas coming up, so they might start to bunch up yet again, and hopefully towards the end of this lap we'll have a four-way fight for the lead.
Yeah, hopefully we will find out as well as they're on their run through. So Alan Toon has jumped back to the pits. As old Tooney's had a little bit of a moment here as well. Let's see what Alan Toon got himself up to as well. Oh, he's run out of fuel. Hasn't put enough fuel in his old Tooney.
Yeah, I remember Alan actually ever using qualifying fuel. Maybe he does, I don't know. But yeah, that could be down to it. So a lot of the drivers do take a lower fuel level on the car just to save a little bit of weight. It does make it a little bit of difference, especially for these guys at the front where they are fighting so close. Never made much difference for myself when I was racing them, but I was definitely not as quick as these guys. So yeah, they do tend to do that, and quite a few times you do see drivers forget to change and up the fuel load.
I've done that myself, to be fair. When I've gone out and qualified and realised when it turns around and says, right, you have 4 laps of fuel, I'm like, oh, gee, I've done it again.
It's the most tragic thing you can ever do.
I know, especially when you like qualify on pole. Not that that happens very often for me, but when it did happen and I made a mistake of running out of fuel, I was just gutted. I was like, oh, well, aren't I a pleb? So there we go. But Newman is out in front by a second at the moment. They're running off through 17A, B, and C, and D here before they go into 18A and B. As the first race looks like it's going to be coming to the end here as well. We will just get 6 laps in once again. And David Ayres, yes, you are correct. I bet the drivers are sweating there as well. I don't think I can repeat the rest, David. Let's put it that way. But yes, I agree with you. They probably are, to be blatantly honest. There as well. Ralph Cullen and Miles Owens having a run down, but it looks like Pete Newman is going to lock out this first front row win here as well for Pete Newman, and it looks like he's going to take the win here as well. Great job from him, and well done to Pete Newman as he's going to come over the line with Jamie Ayres and Tom Griffiths. What's going to happen with Ralph Cullinan and Miles Owens? Owens is too far back. I think Cullinan's going to come over the line and get in there as well, with Pete Van Gool still chasing down Colin Sampson. They're heading around the final corner as well, and I think Colin Sampson may just hang on here. Yes, he definitely will now, because PVG's just made a mistake going around that final corner. He put the gas down too early. He's got Steve Heifer closing in right behind him here as well. In the yellow roll bar, MX5, Heifer's trying to go around the outside. PVG did manage to hold on there as well. So some great racing from these guys, and Heat 1 results are up on your screen now. Pete Newman is your winner with Jamie Ayres, Tom Griffiths and Ralph Cullinan, your top 4. Then Miles Owens, Darrell Wright, Fiona Siddons, Colin Sampson, PVG, Steve Hefford and Sir Alan Toon there as well. Right guys, I'm going to jump onto the BRB screen and try and resolve the issue with my monitor situation, and we will be right back after this short break as we go into a 5-minute warm-up. Okay, we are back. Hopefully resolved the issue that we just had a minute ago, and it won't do that again. But as you say, we never know here as well. But overall, a very interesting development in race 1 there, Greg. Long one for some, but a good one for others.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's what we were kind of expecting, wasn't it, really, from a track like this. Like I said, it's a bit disappointing that there's only 11 drivers on track, and you know, I fully understand it. It's that time of year, and you know, people have got stuff on, and stuff kind of happens and stuff like that. But you know, when you've got a track size and that few cars, it can really, let's say, take the excitement a little bit away from that. We still saw some really good racing, some good pack action, particularly in that middle section. You saw a few drivers maybe thinking about making that dive up the inside and trying to make that move. But like I said, it's so tight around here. It really is. It's a difficult place to pass. You've really only got a few opportunities to make a move. Other than that, you're really trying to force the issue, which you've got to be a little bit careful of.
Yeah, I don't think you really want to force too much of an issue here as well. It's got to be more sensible, as you say. It's a long circuit as well. So the last thing you really want to do is make mistakes early and put yourselves all the way to the back of the grid, because that will be absolutely horrendous. But don't forget, like, subscribe, and turn on the bells here, guys, as well, as we've got a lot more racing coming up here on the JPB YouTube channel as well. Craig Jones has finally managed to see YouTube chat, have you, sir?
Well, not on my phone. Someone very kindly sent me the link, so I'll keep flicking back and forwards every now and again to see what's going on. So yeah, I can see it now.
Okay, no worries there as well. So Greg can see the YouTube chat, so you can say whatever you like, and he will be able to see it. So that's a bit of a bargain here as well. One more 15-minute race to go there, guys. Then we will have to go on to a short BRB changeover session before we come back for round 3 and 4. So yeah, that should be an absolutely banging evening of racing here as well. And the first one didn't really disappoint. We had a 4-way fight for the lead, but I don't know if it was quite as hectic, as manic as I was kind of expecting it to be.
No, it was kind of almost, they were just quite happy to follow each other. And it was really only down to anyone making a mistake where we were really sort of seeing a driver going, oh, okay, I'll have that position. And like I said, it is difficult around here, so it's not a great track for overtaking because of the reason I was explaining before. The car constantly seems to be turning, constantly seems to be doing something. So it's quite difficult to place the car when you're constantly on the limit of what the car's kind of capable of, from turning, braking, accelerating around the corners. You know, when you get those corners where you can manipulate the car very quickly in the last dying second of the corner, that's when you start seeing your more kind of, let's say, more optimistic overtaking opportunities. But this track really doesn't throw them up at that often. There is a few opportunities, don't get me wrong, but it's definitely going to be down to just keeping it on the track, keeping your cool, eating up and absorbing all that pressure, and hopefully you won't be overtaken from it.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, let's see how these drivers do once more as we're coming to the end of the warm-up. We'll be able to bring you the grid for race 2 very, very shortly, as and PVG there as well. I'm not quite sure where they're trying to go, to be blatantly honest with you. But there you go. Let's bring you up the grid for race 2. Alan Toon will be on pole with Steve Hefford and PVG, your 1, 2 and 3. Colin Sampson and Fiona Siddons with Darryl Wright in 4th, 5th and 6th, with Miles Owens, Ralph Cullen and Tom Griffiths with Jamie Ayres, your top 10, and Pete Newman in 11th place there as well. You've not mentioned your trophy so far, as David Ayres. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm staring at them now. I've recently put them on some new shelving, so yeah, they're up there, they're watching me, I'm watching up on them. I clean them every now and again.
Oh, Tooney! He's jumped the start as Alan Toon. He will have to go in for a stop-go penalty. That is effectively going to put Pete Van Gaal and Steve Hefford out in front here, as well as these guys going side by side. Colin Sampson and Fiona Siddons, the 2 championship contenders in the AMS, are there as well. Alan Toon, I love it. He realised he jumped the start, tries to bolt away as best he possibly can there. Not an ideal start for Tooney there either.
No, and I know if there's one man on this grid that doesn't want to be in pole position at the start of the race, it's Alan Toon. I know he doesn't particularly like it. He hates being in that position. So yeah, unfortunate that he did that. But we've all, oh no, that's not right.
Tooney and Siddons.
Yeah, a little bit of contact. That's not ideal.
Yeah, I think so. Not an ideal scenario here as well, as it's all getting a little bit messy here between Darryl Wright and Ralph Cullinan. Not entirely sure what's going on with these guys. They have driven together for quite a long while, but they seem to get that all a little bit Pete-tong there and a little bit messy, as Newman is now trying to come up the inside of Darryl Wright. He does make it through. Next on his list is the Irishman, of course. Steve Hefford and PVG out in front. 13 minutes left on the clock here, Craig. Could be a very interesting evening here in race 2, as the field are quite spread out, as we've got 3 pockets of battles materialising over this race.
Yeah, particularly on the first lap, there's some sort of bottleneck points there, and I think that's where we saw them, sort of the Ralph Cullinan crew there, kind of come together, and you just get those moments where you've got a bit of overspeed, you just don't know where to go with it, and you can't go anywhere with it because the track's not wide enough. So yeah, it's unfortunately spread the field out a little bit. It's interesting now we've got Van Gaal and Steve Hefford here. Oh, Steve Hefford going. He went far too wide, span the rear out, and unfortunately on lap 1 in particular, that's what happened to these guys.
Yeah, and it's going to put him all the way to the back there as well, behind Fiona Siddons, as Steve Evans decided he needed to go to the toilet and pop down to the porta toilet there at that corner, unfortunately for him. Miles Owens, Colin Sampson have broken away with PVG, and also Tom Griffiths, Pete Newman, Ralph Cullinan, Jamie Ayres. Newman's cleared Cullinan and is now setting after these guys in front with Miles Owens, Tom Griffiths, Colin Sampson and PVG scrapping it out as well here. Now, one of the interesting things I've seen this week, Craig, and I just want to touch on it really quickly, as Tom Griffiths and Miles Owens are very close together as well. Driver's line, right? It was brought to my attention that drivers still use the driver's line to race at circuits they're not necessarily familiar with. What do you think of the driver's line? Do you think they should be allowed to use it, or do you think they shouldn't be allowed to use it?
I think, particularly at this level, what's going on in the background there? Fiona Siddons is suddenly veering off towards the pit lane.
Yeah, I don't know if that's entirely her own doing. No, she's hit the grass, and then it's going to lock up. It's going to find some grip, which is about now, and then it's going to send her all the way around, and she does a wonderful pirouette there as well. I think Alan Toon's got into the pits. He's got a service penalty. He has done here as well. Miles Owens, Colin Sampson and PVG with Tom Griffiths there as well. So what do you think?
I don't think any driver should be using a driver's line, and it reminds me recently, I've seen that the Gran Turismo movie, and there's a particular bit in that, so there's a sim racer who's turned pro basically, and they're at Le Mans racing, and he wants to use his own line because the optimal line that he was taught in the game he didn't feel was the correct line. So I'd also question whether the driver's line that the sim puts in there is sometimes the best line. I don't know, but yeah, it's one of those things I don't think should be used. We all do this. This is highly competitive sim racing, and I think little tools like that shouldn't be allowed personally. Tom.
As it goes in through Oak Tree, far too hot there. Is a simulator driver's line should not be a thing? Well, some may disagree with you here as well, and I know one of them is in the booth with me, Craig. Is it a simulator or a game?
It is a simulator. There is a difference, in my opinion.
Oh, now you've changed your tune, is it? Because I'm sure we had a chat about this the other day, and it was deemed a game. But there we go. So Craig Jones swapping which side of the fence he's sitting on currently at the moment here as well, as we head around the pitch and into turn 14 and 15A. Here, some may say David Ayres is just a game. Others may say it's a simulator. But at the end of the day, you sit and play it either way, and that comes under the definition of a game. So for me, I think it's completely different. If I was in an arcade or I was in an F1 centre and there was a big old sim, then yes, with the real life movements and stuff like that, I'd probably put it more on the simulator. But I think when you're just sat at home with a steering wheel strapped to a desk, should we say, as like I do, I could probably safely say it's a game. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being, I don't know, facetious.
But a game is something, you kind of like gaining levels, aren't you? And there's kind of a purpose to it. This is as iRacing beautifully put it, it's a motorsport simulator. It simulates motorsport, and you wouldn't get that necessarily for a game, would you? You'd get a storyline for a game.
Not really?
I think so.
Okay. Well, there you go. Let us know. Simulators should simulate real life as much as possible. That is also true, but then again, it does in aspects and it doesn't in others. And it doesn't, obviously, with some of the damage model that we've seen when you go into the pits and you smash up a front wishbone and then all of a sudden you've got an 8.5 minutes repairs, when really, in real life, it's a lot longer than that. Do you know what I mean? And I think there's that balance between realism and catering for the casual player as such, and I think that's the thing. I think sometimes you've got to look at which angle you really wanted to take. A sim, it's a sim, not a game, James, as well. But it's also part game with the quickness of the repairs and jumping back to the pits and all of this. So it really falls under both genres.
I think a casual player wouldn't be able to jump onto a rig and race a lap without completely crashing the car. I just don't see it happening. It's too technical. You need to practice this. You need to have an element of skill and racecraft knowledge and everything like that to make this work. You are talking what we're seeing on the screen now, that these are not slow drivers. These are not ones that just pick up a PlayStation controller and go do a few laps of, I don't know, wherever you want to go. Silverstone, let's say. These guys, they live and breathe it. They practice it. They eke out those little tenths out of every lap where they can. You don't get that in a game, unfortunately. You can only ever get that in a simulator. My mind will not be changed.
Really?
It's a simulator, it's not a game. But I don't care. I don't get upset if people call it a game. People can call it whatever. But for me, it's the best way you can race without actually racing in the real world.
All right, David Ayres has agreed with me. No, who'd have thought that one? Me and Mr. Ayres actually agreeing. I agree. Those things should be simulated properly. Yellows bug me in iRacing, should be more realistic. I fully agree with you. Well, as you know, I get baned by blue flags. It drives me absolutely insane here as well, because the word facilitate seems to bring a completely different meaning as Miles Owens and Colin Sampson are going in side by side around the roller coaster in 20 and 21 before they move on there as well. So, yeah, I think there's just certain aspects of this that makes it a game. Jumping back to the pits, the escape to get out of the way, yellow flags, as David has said, as well. The unrealistic damage model where bumpers fly off and then fly back on. And I feel that it's just a little bit bordering on the line game. Yes, the cars, the setups, I agree, are simulated to a degree. But I also feel, as Tom Griffiths has just cleared PPG there as well, I also feel it's got game aspects to it. You are able to drive it on a controller. Hence, there's somebody I know, we call him Tyler Funsticks Merritt, who drives a car on a controller, and is incredibly rapid there as well on the controller, mind you. So I think it comes under a mixture of both. I'm just bordering, I think, with some of the aspects of it on the more game kind of environment. Craig, you have got a story in such, you've got to move your career through the ranks, you've got to not make sure you go and hit anybody or something like that. I think simulator can only be branded as what F1 teams use, where they're 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 grand, if not more. I just find, I don't know, I'm on the game kind of aspect side of things.
Well, I'm definitely not. But either way, like I said, I don't particularly care. I just love doing it, and I'm passionate about it. And I've been doing this for nearly on 10 years now. And it's not one of those ones. A game you tend to pick up, you play it for maybe a month or two, and then you tend to put it down and move on to something else. Nothing has turned my head, so to speak. As we see 2 wide going into Bitch. Almost 3 wide, so this could be interesting around this particularly technical part.
Yeah.
Gonna come down the hill. Really, it's difficult because as soon as you get to this point, trying to do anything on the brakes and turn the car, it just gets so twitchy, as we're starting to see there with Owens, just going a little bit twitchy on that rear end. So you've got to be really, really careful around that bit. And then even in the Clio is as stable as you would like, but it really didn't like coming down those bends through that very, very technical section.
Yeah, no, I do fully agree with you. It is very tough here for these guys once more. PVG, Miles Owens and Tom Griffiths coming all on board here with Steve Hefford in the mix as well, who's battling away with Ralph Cullinan. But Colin Sampson again in the arms doing an absolute blinding job, and I would not be surprised to see him overtake Fiona Siddons before the end of the season, because I think it's just going to be Colin Townsend is racking up the points at the moment. Tom Griffiths, Miles Owens and Pete Van Gaal as they're going over with 2 laps remaining here as well on this circuit. So let's see what goes on for the final 2 laps here as PVG, Owens and Griffiths continue up front there as well. David Ayres, not sure if they have to restrict the realism due to the capability of most people's PCs. Well, to be fair, I do understand that as well. They do try and adhere to the casuals. You know, you can't run iRacing on a laptop, which I have seen before as well, and not always necessarily a good one. I think that their recommendations are an i3 or something using like that. To be honest as well, but then again there's more demands on an F1 23 simulator, should we say, out on the PC than there is for iRacing. So which one's got more realistic graphics and capabilities there, Craig, when we look at it that way?
Well, again, I've always said it's not about the graphics. It's about how it operates and the physics. And I know that you've said countless problems with it, and I fully agree with them. But I think nothing comes close to like I said, that feeling of you actually are in a real race car. You're going around a racetrack, and I've come off it, and my heart's been absolutely thumping in my chest because the adrenaline has kicked in. Where I've been going 3 wide, 4 wide down a straight and stuff like that. I absolutely love it, and as long as it keeps giving me that feeling, I'm gonna carry on. I'm gonna carry on with it, and dare I say it, rain is round the corner, and that's gonna bring a whole new dynamics to iRacing as well.
Yeah, I think a lot of our season calendars may change when the rain gets released. It's supposed to be released at the end of week 13, so we will see if that update does appear. Of course, many people have asked for it. It's been in the pipeline for as long as I've been on the service, and I believe it's been also on the pipeline for as long as others have been on the service, and they've been on the service a lot longer than I have. Ralph Cullen and Jamie Ayres battling away here as well as they're going into the spiral, which is up through 16, and then we're going into 17A, B, C, and D. Here's Steve Hefford at the back end of this pack. Back up front, PVG has opened up 8 temps at the moment, but Tom Griffiths and Miles Owens are not letting up on each other here, Craig, as well. Some great action still developing as we'll be going into the final lap. We should be this time around. However, they are a lot further back than Pete Newman was at this point, but I think they should make one more.
Yes, I guess we'll see on the lap time. I would say they're going to make it, looking at where we are currently on the track. But yeah, it's definitely got a different feel about it. We've definitely seen a lot more commitment in terms of trying to force the issues in this race that we didn't kind of get in race 1. So, hopefully that escalates a little bit further, maybe for the final 2 races that we've got to come.
Yeah, maybe do there as well, and hopefully we will see as they've got that final lap in. They have got 6 laps here as well, as PVG is going on the inside with Tom Griffiths and Miles Owens side by side on the exit of turn 1. Now they're on the run through turn 2 and into NASCAR Bend here before they go up to the left hook. It is Tom Griffiths. It is also with Miles Owens and PVG as they're battling out. This could be a great final lap here as well between these 3, Craig.
Absolutely, it's certainly holding up. Like I said, you're obviously not going to see it from Peter Van Gaal because he's in the lead, but the 2 cars behind, Griffiths and Owens, they are looking hungry for a position. So as we go through this kind of twitchy middle section and then we head into Oak Tree, that final straight down towards turn 13 is going to be an interesting one, and maybe where we see an opportunity for a dive up the inside, maybe.
Yeah, well, PVG, Tom Griffiths is looking over the door. PVG's blocked him off. He's put that car in the middle of the circuit. Miles Owens has got a run coming out of Oak Tree now as well. Now we're going down into turn 13. Here once again, PVG, Tom Griffiths, Miles Owens, all scrapping it out for the win in this race. Don't forget, we have got to change sessions after race 2. So after this race, we will go jump onto a BRB screen here as well before we go into the next one. But Tom Griffiths is trying the outside line. Miles Owens is trying the even outer side line as well. He's going to get past Tom Griffiths. Tom Griffiths comes across, makes it there as well, and holds on to that position there, Craig. So very interesting scenario as we're going around the final few corners here at this circuit.
Yeah, that was extremely brave, and you've got to watch that inside line. Oh, he's just gone to his too much rotation on the car. It's so easy to do. That's exactly what I was saying would happen around that corner. It dips down to the left, and the car just wants to carry on going round. Unfortunately, yeah, disappointing end.
Yeah, but great opportunity for for Colin Sansom, who's going to grab a podium overall unless something drastically goes wrong for him. But on that run down into the roller coaster now as well. Here we go. He's going to drop down the hill. He has dropped down now. We're going to go round the right-hander beforehand, and then we're going to go left all the way from 20 to 22B before we go into the final corner in the hog pen here as well. PVG is going to wrap it up with 1.4 seconds of a lead here. Great job from the Dutchman as he's got Tom Griffiths and Colin Sansom hanging on in the background. Will Sansom keep that position as well? Don't forget, we've got 2 more races coming up for you after this one. 2 more 15-minute heats as well. So we will be done and dusted there as well. So great job. Colin Sansom comes over the line, but PVG does take the win with Tom Griffiths, Colin Sansom, Ralph Cullinan just about hanging on from Jamie Ayres and Miles Owens there as them 3 come over the line not too far apart. Then we've got Darrell Wright, and then down in 11 we've got Fiona Siddons in 10th, and Sir Alan Toon, who's on his way round turn 13. Another great race from these guys as per normal there, Craig, as well, and a stellar job all in all.
Yeah, fantastic race. It was unfortunate that we saw a few various issues. So it was sad to see this, and as well to his jump start at the beginning. So easily done. You know, I think we've all done it at least once in our iRacing career. So yeah, more to come, please. Let's see what race 3 is in store.
Absolutely, as we're just waiting for Toonie to finish off there. The BRB screen is my cue to make Scary a cup of tea, ready for when she gets home. Well, there we go. David Ayres knows his place well, and we all know our place well generally. We all turn around and go, we wear the trousers. We do, but she always tells us what colour to put on, Craig.
Oh, I don't know. I think I'm in charge of my household.
Okay, I'm going to give you one more opportunity to rephrase that one, Craig, before we go on to the BRB screen.
No, I refuse to, because you're not in charge of me either.
No, but I'm also know your wife, and I've seen your wife, and I've met your wife as recently as this weekend, just gone, and I'm fully aware that that is not entirely true. So thank you so much for telling a little white fib. We do not endorse lying here on the JPB YouTube channel, but we do admit that when we are wrong, and unfortunately there as well. Right, here are the results. PVG out in front with Tom Griffiths and Colin Sampson. Your 1, 2, 3. Great podium for Colin. Ralph Cullinan, Jamie Ayres, Miles Owens, Steve Everett, Darrell Wright, Pete Newman, Fiona Siddons, and Sir Alan Toon. Right, guys, we're off onto a BRB. We will be back very, very shortly here for race 3 and 4. Okay, guys, we are back. I do apologise about that due to the fact that I don't know what went on, to be honest with you. I'm still James Parfitt. I'm still alongside Craig Jones, and we're still into the session. We just made it, Craig, as well. 23 seconds to go. How are you, sir?
I'm much more relaxed than you are, that's for sure. I've been in the session for ages and been watching the practice, so I'll have you know.
Well, good. Apparently, it wouldn't start up, and then it lost a file, and then it just went all a little bit Pete Tongs. So, yeah, all in all, a little bit of a scary moment for me. But, yeah, there we go. We have made it before they get underway for race 3. I'm sorry for the drivers who have just been driving around on their own for the last 20 minutes as well. But that literally freaked me out there. I've never had that before in my entire life. Let's bring you up the grid for race 3. Newman on pole, we're Alan Toon in second, and PVG, Steve Evans, Fiona Siddons, Darryl Wright, Tom Griffiths, Jamie Ayres, Miles Owens, Colin Sampson, and Ralph Cullinan at the back there as well. So, yeah, great job from everyone for putting up with that. Sorry to YouTube chat if you have gone away and come back again, and that as well. I do apologise there. I didn't get really much hope of being able to tell anybody. I just said technical issues, got to restart. See you later. Right, lights are on. We're going to be up and running here. I've never felt so flustered as I do about now. We've got 5 lights, and we're green and underway with PVG, Steve Evans, Fiona Siddons, and Tom Griffiths there as well. Jamie Ayres trying to make moves past Darryl Wright going down into turn 1 here as well currently. So these guys getting it all underway here, Craig. Pete Newman and PVG. Oh, Tom Griffiths sends out the inside of Fiona Siddons.
Yeah, that was equally as scary there as your PC not working there for this race. Yes, that was a very late dive into that, particularly not something I would want to be doing with cold tyres, but yeah, it seemed to work out pretty well. So good start so far. Everyone's got away. No massive dramas like we've had on the previous 2 races. We're going sideways there. That's Jamie Ayres in the background, I believe, and that is him sadly out of the race. He's got a little bit of catching up to do.
Yeah, you can see here as well, Jamie Ayres on the circuit, goes around the outside, tries to go around the outside of Fiona Siddons, too much power, and then lucky enough he doesn't get hit by anybody though, Craig, as well. So Alan Toon looks like the one who's missed the start here, not entirely sure where Tooney is at the moment. Pure Sims, Pete Newman, PVG, Steve Evans, Tom Griffiths, your top 4 as we go into turn number 13, aptly named Bitch, and now we're still on lap 1 here, Craig, as well. Some great racing so far, and well, yeah, let's get going, shall we?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, this race has certainly got that feel to it that we're in for a good one, judging by the start, doesn't it? So, yeah, race 3, we start to see drivers maybe getting a little bit frustrated and want to try and get a decent result from tonight. So, yeah, this could be where it all starts to kick off. Nice, Pete Newman going wide into the bitch. You don't want to be doing that. But yeah, everyone managed to escape the rejoining Pete Newman. So yeah, we got nice little battle forming here as well. Coming down into this tight section. Yeah, everyone making it nice and clean so far. No shocking moves being made on the first lap. Everyone trying to there's a whole race ahead of them. Trying to keep it on the tarmac. Cold tyres does play a massive issue in particularly lap 1 and lap 2 in these cars, and I think unfortunately that's why we've seen the likes of Jamie Ayres going taking a slightly more scenic route to the track, let's say.
Yeah, absolutely. I do fully agree there as well, and it's some great action going on up front with PVG, Steve Pefford and Tom Griffiths. Of course, PVG taking the win in the last race with Steve Pefford and Tom Griffiths behind with Pete Newman not far behind that as well. Darryl Wright's having a good... No, he's not.
That's going to be a barrier.
Oh,
yes.
Into the tyres for Darryl Wright there as well. Pete Van Gool, Steve Pefford as well, with Tom Griffiths fighting out as they're on their way round to turn 1. For lap 2, David Ayres, I kept them entertained in your absence. Thank you very much, dear sir. I'm sure you will. I'll have to have a read back of some of your jokes that have got going on here as well. So much appreciated to you. As Darryl Wright is in the pits at the moment there, Craig. So for him, it could be race over in race 3, as we've only got 11 minutes remaining.
Yeah, to be honest, like I said before, this sort of few cars, I would, if that was me, I probably wouldn't take part either. You're going to come out, you're going to be on track, you're going to be on your own, and it's a long go track and a very lonely place to be when all the cars are way out in front of you and you've got nothing to show for it. So yeah, unfortunate, but it does happen.
Yeah, definitely does there as well. Tom Griffiths, Pete Newman here battling it out as well, with PVG, Steve Hefford alongside. So some great action taking place on that run down into the oak tree they go. No more oak tree, unfortunately. Steve Hefford!
Second time as well. He did that on the first lap as well. He definitely doesn't like this. Something about that section he does not like.
No, and he hasn't liked the exit either, unfortunately for him, as he's got it all a little bit Pete Tong there. So unfortunately for Steve Hefford, he's not loving that bit at the moment. But I will say, to be honest, Craig, great capture, because to be honest, I've seen people go round doing that.
Oh yeah, absolutely, really easy to do. It's slightly compromising down in the straight into bitch though. So Pete Newman and perhaps even Tom Griffiths is going to have that one on him. Just don't squeeze too much. Watch the outside line. Too wide as we come down to that corner that's been catching quite a few cars out. So this could be interesting.
Yeah, definitely. Let's see how they get on here as well. Once more with these guys battling it out, on they go again. Up through, I believe we're up at 16 and 17 at the moment. So Alan Toon is unfortunately out at the moment. Darrell Wright, I believe he's back on track, but he's all by myself. There's Darrell Wright in the car with Steve Hefford and PVG and Pete Newman there, Craig.
Yeah, fair play to him for coming back out. You know, you might get the odd car that retires, I guess, and pick up a few positions. But yeah, for me, I'll probably have just parked it up and enjoyed our lovely voices on the stream, James.
Oh, well, you just had my tremendous singing as well. What more could you ask for here, Eva, on the JPB? Well, it's better than you harping on about your 6 trophies. As Pete Newman, PVG, still going at it on lap 2. 9 minutes remaining here. So let's see how these guys get on coming down into turn 1. Steve Hefford looks like he may have just got himself a slowdown as Cullen and Owens are going side by side into turn 1 as well. Owens in that 74, Cullen in that 32. Hefford still looking like he's trying to take off his slowdown at the moment as well as he goes round turn 1. This could be a 3-wide situation on the run through NASCAR Bend and down through 4B and 5A and down through the Snake here as well. It's a great action materialising in this mid-pack at the moment here with Ralph Cullinan sitting in the, well, he was in the middle, he's now side by side, he's now at the back of the 3 here, Craig.
Yeah, I mean, this part of the track always seems to create action as well. It's certainly the part where you can normally make a few moves, and then as you sort of later go on and around the lap, it becomes a little bit more tricky. But yeah, Steve Hefford doesn't seem to be comfortable with this track. It goes side by side. Now this bit you can go side by side. I've seen it done many a time before. Are we going to see it yet again? Yeah, it looks like it was fairly clean. Just cut his nose off there. That was risky, but paid off.
Yeah, definitely did that. So, as you say, a bit risky, but it did manage to work. Up front, you can see Newman and Van Gaal scrapping it out. Just told Scary there is a corner this track named after her.
Oak tree, really?
Yeah, weird. Yeah. I'm not entirely sure that would be the one I'll be going for. You know what I mean? So,
got to play it safe.
As Pete Newman is coming into that aptly named 13 here as well, with PVG and Tom Griffiths there as well. Sorry, James, I prefer to hear about Craig's trophy than to hear you sing.
You've got to give the fans what they want, James.
Off you go, Craig. Tell us about your trophies.
Oh, I've already mentioned them. I only
your moment to shine.
And someone asked about them, so it wasn't really me mentioning them. It was just someone asking about them.
Well,
so.
Whoever asked about them, you need shooting. God blimey. Here as well as Pete Newman has opened up 6 tenths at the moment here as well. Ralph Cullinan still got Steve Hefford closing in. Hefford, however, does look like he's just made a bit of a mistake. That's going to bring Jake Sampson into play. PVG has got hold of Newman, who has gone wide, and unfortunately for him, run a little bit wide as they drop down into the roller coaster. He's going to have to play catch up, but Tom Griffiths, PVG seems to have the measure of this track at the moment. I've never seen PVG do quite as consistently as he's doing at the moment.
He always seems to do really well around tracks like this, though. So he's a very technical driver. So you know, I've had the privilege of getting a little bit of coaching off him before and listening to him coach others, and particularly in the technical aspects of tracks like this, he does seem to shine a little bit. So you know, that's I guess why he's so comfortable. But you know, that was a very late lunge there as well. Forcing the door open, but it seemed to work. He's managed to get alongside of him, so yeah, it could be a move on here, James.
Yeah, Pete Newman going round turn 3 at the moment through the NASCAR bend they go. Then into left hook, he come in very late on Tom Griffiths. He did manage to make it through, but boy oh boy was he hanging on by the skin of his teeth, I can tell you that much. Newman come through there as well. Miles Owens, Cullinan in the background, then we've got Sampson and Hefford having a nice little tiny little ding dong further back here. Hefford has just cleared Sampson. Whoa! Again for Steve Hefford. Yes. Throwing that car around all over the place.
I don't know if it's the track or his setup, or he just doesn't look comfortable, does he? The car looks really twitchy, and I know he likes that. I know a lot of them on boards like a very twitchy car. That's how they get the most out of these cars. But yeah, it just doesn't look comfortable at all tonight.
No, we've got Griffiths and Newman. So Newman did clear Tom Griffiths there as well, and he's now going after the Flying Dutchman at the front of PBG currently. So PBG, Pete Newman and Tom Griffiths. Then we've got in the background Miles Owens, Ralph Cullinan, and further back Jake Sampson and Steve Hefford as these guys are battling it out here with 4 minutes to go. They've got about 2 laps on the clock, of course. We have measured that they will get about 6 laps, but we'll have to see how the lap times have been here. And let's see what happens once more. So yeah, nice little pockets of battles materialising. Newman looking at going up the inside as he comes into the spiral, of course, aptly named. You can see why that's very much Laguna-esque, isn't it, up at the corkscrew?
It is, perhaps not, maybe not as steep as or as blind as the corkscrew, but yeah, still an interesting corner.
You know.
Nah, it's definitely steeper. That's what Laguna Sabres. The corkscrew is definitely steeper than that. At least you can kind of pick an exit point. It's really difficult to pick up the exit point on the corkscrew. You've kind of got that tree, and that's where you kind of got to go off.
You know, you kind of aim at it and just hope for the best there as well. Scott gets. Oh, dearie me. For all you Valentine's people as well out there, don't forget to say happy Valentine's. We actually haven't got, I'm mistaken, we haven't got the JPB GT4 tomorrow because we have cancelled it for Valentine's Day. There as
really?
Well, yes, we have cancelled it for Valentine's Day. So there isn't the GT4 JPB. That will be moved into week 13. So I completely forgot about that one as Newman and PVG and Griffith going side by side, running through into NASCAR Bend at the moment. There, Tom Griffiths in the background. But yes, there is no GT4s tomorrow. I will remember that because, as I say, it is Valentine's Day. But it's also it's also my son's birthday as well, as Pete Newman takes a very different line onto the circuit that I've probably not really quite seen before, and he's probably going to get a slowdown for his troubles there as well. So it's still some great action materialising. This is the closest battle on track with these guys up front here, Craig, as well. And they've kind of been at each other's throats all the way since the beginning.
Yeah, this is the sort of action that we like to see. Cars ducking and diving from behind one another, trying to coach the driver in front to a mistake perhaps. But yeah, this is, I can't imagine 3 better drivers to be going at it into battle than these 3. So yeah, a few little mistakes there from Newman, which is not an unfamiliar scene tonight from quite a few of the drivers. A little bit of squeezing going on there. You want to give him room. You want to watch that net code. You don't want net code to be ending your race, particularly when the fighting's so good. Oh, and it's happened. Ooh. I think that may have been my first commentator's curse, James.
I believe you may be right, but was it netcode or was there actually contact here? as we're coming into turn 13, there was contact.
Yeah.
There was contact between PVG and Tom Griffiths. Now, I did see an announcement earlier on about this as well. Somebody tagged me in a tweet that I'm trying to find, that I believe they have, by all accounts, not solved the issue, but reduced the issue. I'm trying to find the tag in the tweet here as well, so I will try and find it and then tell you what it was as well. But I believe there was something in the patch notes for today where they have, by all accounts, reduced the chances of netcode.
Well, if they have, that would be fantastic, because no one wants to have a race end from a miscalculation on the dreaded netcode, which was happening far too much and was ruining racing, to be honest with you, in some respects. But there, on that particular issue, there was a lot of squeezing going on, and obviously one driver trying to open up the line as best they can to get round Bitch. And unfortunately, I didn't actually mean to say that either. Unfortunately, that's what that was the result of that. So unfortunate to see.
Definitely was.
Blame that code though.
I'm trying to find the tweet. For some reason now it's completely disappeared off my feed here, which is a bit of a shame, unfortunately. But there was some form of manifestation that they had performed here that was supposed to, by all accounts, lower the chances of it happening. I'll have to do a little bit of a hunt as we're on the final lap of the race. Tom Griffiths is out in front here as well, and has basically broken free, Craig, of the pack of Newman and of Cullinan and of Owens, who are still going at each other as well for a little bit longer here as well. But overall, great racing that we saw PVG unfortunately become a bit of a crop rock.
Yeah, it was real unfortunate, because that battle was really starting to heat up, wasn't it? I mean, yeah, there's down to 0.7 from between Newman now and Griffiths at the front. So, Newman could rein him back in. This particular battle here with Cullinan and Owens is starting to look really bit tasty as well. Coming down to probably the best opportunity on the track to make a move into, let's call it scary bend now, for David Ayres' sake. So yeah, like I said, tough track to pass on, but this is probably your best opportunity. Hopefully we won't see any more contact like we saw on the previous lap. So quite respectful, very wide from Owens. That's going to really kill his time and advantage Mr. Cullinan.
Yeah, definitely there as well. So it's going to put Pete Newman and Tom Griffiths in the driver's seat here as well. I'm still just trying to find the information I found earlier on here once again with the announcements that took place. This was the mid-season February announcements, of course. Pete Newman there with Tom Griffiths as they're going into turn 17D, believe it or not, at this moment in time as well. So they're still scrapping away as they're coming around the final ends of this race before they go down into the roller coaster once more, and some great action and racing development here as well. So yeah, all in all, some great fights from Pete Newman and Tom Griffiths. Who's going to get there first? Well, we're going to find out as they're on that run down to the line, near enough here as they're coming around the hog pen, turn 13 for their final opportunity. What's going to happen?
No! Newman! He's going to be kicking himself over that. Just lost the back end, tried to correct it. On the correction, it snapped the other way, and that was game over for
Pete Newman.
him.
Yeah, Tom Griffiths comes over the line with Cullinan and Miles Owens there, with PVG coming over as well. Colin Sampson's just been passed by Jamie Ayres here, so Colin Sampson and Jamie Ayres going to come over the line. I'd like to point out on the conversation and the topics that we were picking up a little bit earlier on here, Craig, there is a career mode coming to iRacing as well. This should be with us within by about the beginning of 2025, so there we go. Does that make iRacing a game?
No, it doesn't. I don't care. I really don't. I don't care.
I can see here as well, and I cannot find what I'm looking for either, which is really quite annoying, as it was on my feed earlier on, as these guys have come round and finished Heat 1. Let's bring you up the results here as well. Tom Griffiths on your winner with Ralph Cullen and Miles Owens, and Pete Newman in fourth. PVG, Steve Heather, Fury Siddons, Jamie Ayres, Colin Sampson, Darryl Wright, and Sir Alan Toon here as well. So we have got, I believe we've still got the 5-minute warm-up, and I cannot find what I'm looking for, which is really frustrating.
Well, you should have saved it, shouldn't you? You should have had it ready for tonight, thinking that was a topic of conversation to have.
No, but I refreshed my feed and now it's disappeared on me.
Well, I for one certainly hope they have altered it, but I can also see just how it happens as well. We take your lad as an example. So when you're racing, when he's racing and you're streaming. He starts blinking all over the track and going sideways, and 1 minute he's there, 1 minute he's not. So I can see how these little issues occur on tracks, but it's really frustrating when you are racing and unfortunately you get knocked out because of a little bit of net code. So yeah, it would be great if they have put something in place to try and reduce that risk.
Yeah, it definitely has there as well. I did also find out from earlier on, I didn't actually realise this, that Edward actually drives over Wi-Fi. So that's probably not going to help him either. I have told him to order a cable long enough to go from the router to the back of his PC, so that should hopefully resolve some of his issues, as long as he has ordered the cable, of course.
Ah, okay, excellent. Yeah, that would make a massive difference.
I didn't realise he wasn't hardwired in, to be honest with you. So there we go. Never mind. It is what it is. So there we go, guys, as well. But stay tuned. We've got one more race coming up for you here as well. The final race of the evening before we go into race 3. Like you debate sim. I'm sorry, I can't actually. What does that say? Like you debate sim on game. Anything I'm into a close to $5,000 is a sim. See, I do agree with you there, but I'm also aware of F1 esports drivers who have spent close to that on motion simulators and rumble kits and all of this kind of thing just to race in F1 23. So can that really be taken as a comparison?
But I don't. Is the gear you're using, does that make it any more of a simulator over a game? I don't really see why that would.
Exactly. So does that nullify the point then, or are we saying that it doesn't really matter what sim gear you're in? It's just still you're classing it as a simulator rather than a game. The thing is, we start up the PC, we press the button that wants to load O Racing, and then we click in a session that we want, and we do the same in F123. We load it up, we press the session we want, and we go into it. And F123's had rain for ages. iRacing, there's hopefully rain coming here as well. Right, I've got it. I found it. Woo! Right, so they've come out and said simulation on the cars fixed a global bug with the steering behaviour of opponents' cars, which could cause them to be in a different lateral position from their actual position. This issue could cause phantom contacts where a driver may not appear to physically contact another car from their perspective, but according to the race server processing, contact was made. This effect was more noticeable in corners where cars would be actively changing lateral positions rapidly. So they have noticed that there's an issue, and they have put a perspective. They fixed a global bug apparently. So there we go.
Oh, okay, well that was worth waiting for, wasn't it?
It was, to be honest. It took me ages to find that. And how dare you? Because it sounds so ungrateful.
They explained it better than fixed the bug, as you said, or rather similar to saying to that. So
yeah, there we go. But to be honest with you, I believe that's Fiona, isn't it? Summer Farm Estates. So I think, to be honest with you, I think it doesn't really matter what you drive on. You know, I've seen a guy set up and he's literally on a wooden chair with a steering wheel strapped to a table, driving on a laptop, and this guy's 7.5K. So does it really matter? If you're fast, you're fast. If you're slow, right?
Yeah, but also depends on how much time you got to commit to the hobby as well. You know, it's like anything. The more you do it, the more you practice, the better you get at it, isn't it? And I think that makes a massive difference.
Yeah, it does. Well, timing has come to an end. Let's bring the grid up here as well. For race number 3, Darrell Wright on pole with Colin Sampson, Jamie Ayres, Fiona Siddon, Steve Hefford, Pete Van Gogh, Pete Newman, Miles Owens, Ralph Cullinan, Tom Griffiths, and then I don't think we're going to get to Alan Toon, however he is on the back here as well. So more action to come here from race 3. Stay tuned for this one, of course, final race of the evening, and we've got Darrell Wright on pole position there as well. Just call it sports. Oh yeah. There is that as well. As these guys, I suppose, are racing in competitions and stuff like that. So there we go.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I agree as well. So let's get this.
That's a first.
I know. It take us very long, does it? It's not very often actually that happens. But anyway, lights on. 2, 3, 4, 5. And we are green with Darrell Wright, Colin Sampson, Jamie Ayres, Fiona Siddons, Steve Hefford, all getting off the line here with PVG and Pete Newman, Miles Owens, Ralph Cullinan, Tom Griffiths and Sir Alan Toon. As we go down into turn 1, Jamie Ayres is on the outside. We've got lights on here, which is never good if we're going to go into a track with no lights into the dark. Craig.
No, not usually. But, you know, it's race 4. It's the one we all get excited about. We all look forward to it. It often brings a little bit of carnage. Was that someone going wide? Yes, it was. Oh, and here comes the carnage. That is not what we wanted to see to that extent.
No, that's Jamie Ayres off the side of the circuit here. There, runs on the grass, gets it all a little bit peaked on and gets it wrong. And then we've got Fiona Siddons here with Pete Van Gogh, push round. Tom Griffiths is involved in that one. And then Colin Sampson loses it all on his own as well for Colin. So unfortunately, we've lost a few people to the back of the grid. We've still got Newman now, who's got up into 3rd, up 4 places.
Yeah, well, often other people's misery is someone else's gain in motor racing, and that's certainly what's happened. But yeah, again, it's probably that corner again for Steve Hefford. He just doesn't like it. I think we're going to have to rename that corner and help them out a little bit to call it Hefford Bend or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well,
oh no, he's fully lost it this time. Use that pit. Use that pit. No, okay. Yeah, nice save though. Well done.
Would that come up that he would need to keep to the pit lane limiter if he goes in for it?
I have no idea. I've done it for fun before, but I've never done it intentionally in a race.
Yeah, PVG is into the pits, unfortunately, for Pete Van Gogh. So there you go. Pete is looking like he could be out of this one, as these guys still battling out there. Ralph Cullinan with Tom Griffiths side by side. Hefford's in the background. That's released Darrell Wright at the front. We've lost Pete Newman. Oh, I believe there was more to that than just that, though, I've got to be honest. Oh, he's gone way round, coming off that corner there as well, Craig, visiting the little Portaloo. They're parked there once more behind the tyre barriers. Can't really tell. Well, they put their marshals on this track, so great job. Steve Everett, Darrell Wright, Ralph Cullinan and Tom Griffiths still scrapping it out up the front here as well. I do love the fact that somebody's actually replied to that tweet. Sounds like iRacing have fixed a COVID-19 global bug. Somebody turned around and went, imagine the problem's been there from the beginning. Imagine taking a decade to fix something. So, you know, hey, I suppose in a weird way, he's got a point on that one.
Well, to be fair, they've been really busy putting random Portaloos into the tracks, haven't they? So, you know, you can't blame them.
Yeah, I agree. I do agree with it on that one as well. But Colin Sampson chasing down Miles Owens are all a little bit more spread out than normal. Steve Cullinan's got Darrell Wright. Ralph Cullinan's got Tom Griffiths in front of him. So, and then Colin Sampson and Miles Owens are still going at each other here as well. Colin Sampson should be able to get the inside. Send it! Or not. There.
Yeah, and that's why you commentate and don't race, James.
Oh, please. Yeah, but the door was so wide open, I could have got in and burgled Miles Owens' steering wheel. It was that far open.
Well, but it's still only lap 2, so you got to remember, like, I haven't driven these cars for a while, but they used to be a nightmare until about lap 3 for sort of braking and making moves like that. So it might just be the confidence of the tyres is not quite there yet.
Yeah, but he's lost so much more time now. He's now out of touch, so it's, do your way out that way. JPBroadcasting and Steve Parfitt going here as well, as these guys are battling it out on lap 2. 4 laps remaining here as well. Looks more like Swan Lake, the motor race. You're taking my line, David Ayres.
It's not a bad line, to be fair, though.
I know. It is good there as well. As Jamie Ayres and Steve Parfitt still scrapping it out. So let's see how these get on for the remaining 4 laps here as well, Craig. Should be an interesting battle, I think, developing here.
Yeah, definitely. Lap race 4 is what I was trying to say. Often brings these battles. It's the last opportunity of the night. You're not going to get another chance to try and turn your night around. So yeah, you often see a little bit more, let's say, optimistic driving from some of the guys that are on the track. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. 4 laps to go. Anything can happen. Everything seems to have happened at the moment. We've seen some contact. We've seen some cars spinning off the track. Game on. Let's see what comes of this one.
Yeah, all right, Steve Parfitt, the closest battle on the track at the moment. PDG is out. Alan Toon is also out here as well, as these guys go off on a leisurely drive round VIR Grand Prix. It's not called Grand Prix Circuit, it's called the VIR Grand Circuit here as well. So yeah, these guys still battling it out. Darrell Wright closing in on Ralph Cullinan here. The Irishman, of course, in the green roll bar has just miraculously disappeared on that one. Steve Parfitt and Jamie Ayres is also battling. Newman's into the pits, and this is why for Pete Newman, unfortunately. He has just gone round again somewhere, has he? Or has he just decided, I'm not going to drive this track on my own? And it looks like he has done the latter. Steve Parfitt of PVG fight out with Darrell Wright and Ralph Cullinan also scrapping.
Yes, scraps. That's what we want to see. We want to see these little battles going on. We want to see cars ducking and diving. So yeah, side by side here with the Momo twins of the race so far. So yeah, always interesting to see those cars working well together on track. Sometimes see a little bit of it going the wrong way, a little bit of contact and taking each other out, but not often. The Momo boys always work well together. They all seem to create positions from nowhere, from just positioning the cars really well. So yeah, you never really want to see a Momo train in front of you or behind you, to be honest. It's a fairly scary look, I have to say.
Yeah, definitely is, but Wright, Cullinan, Parfitt and Ayres still going to be going at it as we're on lap 3, 8 minutes remaining here, which will give us about another 3 laps at this very long circuit. We've still got Tom Griffiths out in front, so Griffiths still breaking away. He's got a 3-second gap at the moment, with the Irishman of Ralph Cullinan in 2nd place, which is a great job from him. Darrell Wright taking the 3rd podium, with Parfitt behind that as well. We've lost Pete Newman, we've lost Van Gaal, we've lost Tooney. We're down to 8 drivers. It's almost a survival of the fittest here this evening, Craig.
It is. I said that from the beginning, really, didn't I? I said it's all about consistency and just trying to keep it on the track at this one. It's a real difficult technical track to master. Here we see the Momo boys in action, as I said, positioning the cars perfectly, protecting that inside line. Oh, and Parfitt goes. He's too deep on the brakes into bits, and that's what happens. You don't want to be going too deep into bits. Unfortunate. He just does not look like a normal Steve Parfitt to me. I think I need to check on him after the end of this race. He mustn't be well or something, because this is not normally how Steve Parfitt performs.
No, but definitely not there as well. And you never want to be going too wide, too deep into the pitch, of course, because it never normally ends up well for one of you there as well. Miles Owens and Colin Sampson, Miles Owens and Steve Parfitt now going at it with Darrell Wright as well here, Craig. So a lot of action still taking place. We've got 3 minutes. 3 laps remaining, 6.5 minutes left on the session, as Jamie Ayres is now trying to go at the Irishman. And we've got an Irishman, a Welshman and an Englishman here in the top 3. So great action as Darrell Wright is off the side of the circuit as well here.
Yeah, it looks like he's just
Body deep. Is it the curb? And no.
Clipped it, over rotated the car. Yeah, easily done. And that's the second time he's met the barrier tonight.
Now you got Ralph Cullinan and Jamie Ayres here fighting it out for second place. How much of a defense is Jamie going to put up here as well? He puts up a little bit. And Jamie goes through, Ralph puts up a little bit, but doesn't really manage to hold on to that position, and Jamie Ayres does go through. Great overtake from Jamie Ayres, and probably at an opportune moment as we've only got 2 laps left.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really difficult to make an undercut on a corner like that because the corner is so long, and there's effectively 2 apexes to it. So it's really difficult when you've got a car on the inside to sort of just slow it down enough and hopefully to get your nose across the wheel of the car in front to go for the undercut. Jamie Ayres knew what he was doing. Parked on the apex, made sure that both had no opportunity to come back at him. Fantastic move.
Yeah, absolutely a stellar job there from all of these guys, as Jamie Ayres still got Ralph Cullinan, mind you, tucked up right behind him on that run down into Oak Tree at the moment. Owens is got Hefford, putting Hefford all under pressure here as well. So great job from all of these guys. I'm wondering if Tom Griffiths has got a 3-second lead out in front, Craig. A little bit lonely driving for him here as well.
Yeah, in a perfect position, especially with Colin and Ayres fighting behind. So, I think if he just keeps his head down, focuses on those braking points, doesn't do anything silly, this one is in the bag. Too wide again, going into the bitch. The bitch has seen a lot of action tonight.
Excuse me. It has, yes. Mostly with Steve Hefford involved in not being able to get that corner right.
He loves it there.
As he comes in through the spiral as well, all out of control. Steve's struggling a little bit with Miles Owens there as well. 4 minutes on the clock. They should, as I say, get 2 more laps in. Miles Owens and Steve Hefford going side by side. Steve Hefford going off the side of the circuit again. He's definitely getting his money's worth out of this circuit tonight, Steve Hefford. I think he's seen every part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. They're going to have to release some of the grass after this race, aren't they?
Yeah.
He's put some nice big tyre tracks in them.
Yeah, he definitely has here as well for Steve Hefford. So hopefully he'll settle down and see how he gets on for the remainder of the race. Can he get back up to the back of Miles Owens? Well, that's going to be the question. Not much to say about this young man. He has gone out and he's done an absolute stellar job as Tom Griffiths. He is led from start to finish and he's making this look easy with only 2 laps remaining. Ralph Cullinan, the Irishman, going to take a podium here again this evening, so great job from him with Miles Owens behind that. Jamie Ayres is in the middle, the man that could drift literally just about any car physically possible here, and Steve Hefford has closed back up on Miles Owens. There's still some great action taking place from them guys.
Absolutely. It looks when is Steve Hefford going to make that move? He seems to come back. He seems to get really, really close to the car in front. He seems to try and make that move, and then unfortunately it all seems to just unfold for him. Really interesting to see a driver that generally is, he is Mr. Consistent, and he has got the pace, and he can do some incredible things with an MX5. But this track tonight, in particular, he just does not look his normal self.
I fully agree with you on that one. Very interesting, even in a racing for Steve, of course. We know he's got his own issues, so with health and back and stuff like that. So, but for him, it's great to have him back on track here as well as they go around Oak Tree. Looks like Darrell Wright has been off track quite a few times all of a sudden here as well, and he looks like he has struggled. He's gone off track again. What is going on with Darrell Wright at the back here? It's just, well, he hasn't got a bumper, so that's never ideal. But then again, it's not aerodynamics that really make this car. He's not making that corner. That's his first off track. Doesn't look like he's going to make the next one either. That's his 4th one. And then I've got a funny feeling there's more coming from Darrell Wright here once more as he's going to try and make it round in through NASCAR Bend as well, Craig. Darrell Wright not looking overly happy at the moment.
No, another driver that seems to have struggled this track tonight. I mean, the car does look like he's taking your son out for a paper round in it, doesn't it?
I don't know what you mean, Craig. I feel you might be digging at something.
You know exactly what I mean.
I have no idea what Mr. Jones is talking about here this evening either. However, once I clean the dirt off my car, let's just say there's a ding that's more noticeable than it was before, Craig.
Yes, I'm sure it is, judging from what I saw of it on Saturday.
Yeah. I cleaned the car the other day. He thought it was his birthday, bless him. As well as I hand cleaned him as well. Took him to a hand car wash and did it myself.
And what, you did it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you said you took it to a hand car wash, that you meant that you paid someone else to do it.
No,
okay, well
you
done.
go and it's like an automated washer. You go in it and you stick your car, you select how long you want, so it gives you like 12, 15, 20 minutes, whatever. And pick what you want, and then you run through their cycles and press the button, and it tells you what hose you've got to use for each thing. So there's polishing, hot waxing, washing, foaming. I did a foaming on the car. It looked quite interesting, actually. It looked like a giant snowman by the time I'd finished foaming it up there as well. So yeah, it's like an automated thing. So no hands needed for, obviously, no employees. It's just like an automatic car wash.
Okay, fair enough. Respect.
No. However, I did select 12 minutes, which cost me 12 quid, and then I had to run around the car like an absolute trooper, just pushing him all the way through to try and get it done in 12 minutes. Not the most easiest thing I've got to admit there as well. I think if you go there, you need to select a little bit longer just to make sure you get inside everything. You know what I mean?
Okay, fair enough.
I know, I was proud of myself. Right, as we're still on the final lap, Griffiths got airs closing. He's closing at a rate of knots here. So if Griffiths if he isn't careful, sorry, as my teeth are not working here this evening, he is going to be in a great heap of pressure by the time he gets to the end here. But then again, Cullinan is also keeping Jamie Ayres honest here, Greg.
Yeah, I think if it's going to happen, it's the kind of only opportunity is going to be coming into this turn, I will say, into the bitch. Yeah, I think he's not close enough to probably make a move now, and there's not much opportunities really to go after here. So I think he's going to be safe for this race.
Yeah, I'm starting to wonder whether or not it's the downfall of night time that's cost him here, because as it's got darker, Tom Griffiths has got slower. So I'm wondering if he's struggling a little bit with the night drop onto a circuit with no lights, of course.
Perhaps. I mean, yeah, Jamie Ayres has really come back at him, let's face it, from being sort of 2 seconds down before this one. So, yeah, it could well be. I mean, personally, I used to like nighttime driving. I seem to perform better. But, you know, I suppose it's not everyone's cup of tea. So, yeah, like I said, very hard to make a move at any point in the track from now on anyway. So I think as long as he doesn't make a big mess up, he's got this one.
No, but to be fair, they have got to run up to the line. You can see Jamie Ayres just over the roll bar of that little MX5 here. So he's not massively back. If he can stay a little bit closer going in through the roller coaster down here as well, this could be an opportunity, but I'm not quite sure if he's going to get it at the moment, as it's going to be Tom Griffiths. I think he's even too far for the toe here to kick in. Griffiths weaves though just to make sure. He now goes back to the other side. Somebody give him knitting needles and you'll get a jumper by the time he goes over the line. Tom Griffiths does take that victory here as well, as we've got Fiona Siddons, the last one on track. Ralph Cullinan comes over in third, so we've got Griffiths, Ayres and Cullinan. Then we've got Miles Owens and Steve Hepburn, Sampson, Wright and Siddons, who's a long way around the circuit at the moment there, Craig. Great action in round 3, race 4, sorry. They were a little bit more spread out than normal, but the boys still did the job.
Absolutely, typical of race 4, isn't it? You know, you have that little bit of carnage that happened at the beginning, and it just makes people slow down a little bit, and everyone ends up out of place and off the track trying to do a sensible rejoin and bits and pieces like that, and it just spreads the field out. But yeah, we still saw some great battling towards till the end, which is what we want to see. So yeah, great show, and again, despite only having 11 cars on track, really good performance from a good showing from the UK SimRacers.
And Spearner Siddons comes around the final corner. Actually, we'll go over the line here as well to finish in 8th overall. 2nd in class, mind you, so still get some good points on the board here for Fiona. And then we'll be able to bring you the finishing results at what has been a very, very tricky circuit here this evening for these guys. But here are the results. Tom Griffith is your winner with Jamie Ayres in 2nd, Ralph Cullen in 3rd, Miles Owens in 4th, Steve Everett 5th, Colin Sampson in 6th with Fiona Sid in 7th, Darryl Wright, Pete Newman, PVG, and Sir Alan Toon there as well. Well, another interesting evening of these guys as well, Craig. Some great action, some great battling. As I say, race 4 incidents in that one right at the beginning caused a little bit of a problem for everyone. But overall, not a bad end at all.
No, it wasn't a bad end. This one I thought started off, it was quite slow, quite reserved. The drivers just kind of being respectful, sort of, you go first. It was unlike the UK SimRacers. Like I said, it is a particularly difficult track, so that's probably what it all boiled down to. And then as the evenings got on, you just saw a little bit more kind of pushing for positions and trying to make moves where they could. Lots of mistakes all over the show, to be honest with you, which you don't really see from some of the top drivers, particularly in this league as well. You saw some real rare scenes tonight. So yeah, overall, interesting race. Only 11 drivers, and like I said, I think they put on a good performance despite having such a small grid. So yeah, good to see.
Yeah, great to see from these guys. We're off to Watkins Glen Cup Circuit next week as well, so stay tuned for that one. Don't forget, no racing on JPB on Wednesday. We will be returning on Thursday for the Radical SimRacers TSRC GT3 on ACC and also Evolution Sim Racing. Don't forget, later on, we've got the rebirth of the BSC NASCAR series here. Tune that one in. We're going into Daytona. But for now, guys, for myself up here in the booth, much appreciated to everybody who's joined me in YouTube chat. Phil, David Ayres, and Summerfields, I think you've been the main ones here as well. Sorry if I've missed anyone, but for myself up here in the booth, I've been James Parfitt alongside Greg Jones. Take care, have a great week, and you never know, we might see you on the track sometime. Good night.